everybody, my name is Ashley Rush, and I'm an independent creative memories advisor located in North Carolina. During last week's video, I asked you all what you wanted to see during this week's video. It was pretty tight. I had lots of requests for project recipes, and I had lots of requests for use your scraps video. I think that use your scraps actually came up on top, but I didn't have a lot of scraps to use. So I ended up doing a project recipe video this week so that I would have scraps to use for next week. So you guys are all winners. We got to do the 2 top choices, so that's really great. So as I mentioned, today is a project recipe video. Project recipes are created by Creative Memories for each of their collections. It's a cutting guide they release to advisors that helps teach a 2-page spread. This week we'll be using O Canada, but I'm not going to be using it with Canadian papers. In fact, I'm going to do it twice. I have one recipe where I use the Sunrays for days and one where I use the new patriotic collection for the United States. One I do a little more following the directions exactly, and then I show you one where I've made some modifications. I'd love to hear which one you guys like best. To complete this recipe, you're going to need your 12-inch trimmer, your tape runner. I'm going to use a little bit of repositionable and traditional. You're going to need 3 sheets of coordinating paper. I am using Stars and Spirit. You're going to need 2 pieces of coordinating cardstock to serve as your base. And then in this case, I'm going to be using the Stars and Spirit stickers as well. There is a version of this recipe that uses the border maker cartridge. I'm going to do this one without the border maker, and then I will show you a sample using the border maker. And I'll try and remember to tell you when the border maker will be used. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to set my stickers aside and my tape runner aside. I don't really need them yet. As I said, your paper, your cardstock serves as your base. I am using white shimmer. It seemed only appropriate. I tried the firecracker shimmer, but the reds and this red were just clashing. So I went for white shimmer instead. All right, so now we are going to choose our paper. Sort of a secondary background is I'm going to use this paper. First, you're going to make a 2.5-inch cut. All right. Take that 2.5 piece, give it a 1/4 turn, and now you're going to cut at 6 inches. You'll actually be using the reverse of this pattern, so I'm going to go ahead and put it reverse side up so I remember that. Now you're going to take that 9.5-inch paper that you had left over. You're going to give that a 1/4 turn so that the 12 inches is going perpendicular to your trimmer, and you're going to cut this at 6 inches. That is your first sheet of paper done. I'm going to set those aside. Now I'm going to take a sheet that's going to be mostly matte. And this is where you would use your border maker system. You could cut a border with your border maker system, punch it out, and then you would cut it at 2 inches, repeat, and cut at 2 inches. I am not going to be using the border maker. I'm going to try something different. So I'm going to go straight into cutting at 2 inches. And you're going to do that twice. All right, you're going to take that remaining piece and you're going to cut at 6.5 inches. All right, this strip is extra. You can set that aside. I'm gonna take that 6.5 inch piece, give it a quarter turn, and now you're gonna make a 4.5 inch cut twice. You've got your 2 mats, and you should be left with a, you should be left with a 3 inch piece. You're gonna give that a quarter turn again. So again, the long edge is perpendicular to your trimmer, and now you're gonna give it a 3 inch cut twice. All right, so you have one little piece of scrap here that you can set aside. Now it's on to our last sheet of paper. Now I'm gonna be honest, not all of these cuts are necessary for the version I am doing. I'm gonna make all of the cuts though, so that if you did do the border maker punching, I'll be able to tell you where those cuts go. So we're going to make a 1/2 inch cut twice. Oops, I went a little far on that one. That's okay. You're gonna have some extra on here, so I'm gonna put that aside. That's an oopsies. This is supposed to be a 1/2 inch cut. Okay. Now you're going to make a 1 inch cut twice. And this 1 inch, you're going to be using the reverse side. Now we're moving to a 1.5 inch cut twice. Last but not least, you're going to be making a 3 inch cut. You should have roughly a 3 inch sheet of paper. I made a boo-boo, so mine's a little smaller. That is extra, you can set it aside. You're gonna take your 3 inch strip, you're gonna give it a quarter turn and make a 3 inch cut 3 times so that you will end up with 4 3x3 squares. And these ones, you will once again be using the reverse. All right, that is all of our cutting. You can set your trimmer aside. Now let's start to assemble. I'm gonna loosely assemble first so you guys can see where everything goes. The 2 inch strips that may or may not have a border maker cut into it, those are gonna go on the very bottom. Okay, we're gonna build our base first and then go in with our layers. So our large, I think these are what, 9.5 by 6. Those go the next layer up, line up straight with those 2 inches. And then the piece we cut of the reverse, they go on the edge. then we follow up with our 1 inch, oh, I'm sorry, our 1.5 inch strips. Now, if you cut a border using the border maker system, you would take the 1 inch strips and layer them behind your border so that it would peek through. Now, in my case, I didn't have that. I'll show you an example here. Here's what I did with Sunrays for Days. I cut, this is a 2 inch border using the new sandcastle border punch, and then I layered that 1 inch strip behind to make that border punch really pop out. I'll show you guys more of this layout in a little bit. Now I'm gonna try just making a layer here. I'll see if I like it. If it's too busy, I can always pull it out and do something else. And then this 1/2 inch strip is gonna go right over top of that seam. So again, I'm not working too hard on getting this all straight right now. I'm just laying it out. Right, now our 4.5 by 6.5 mats are going on the outside. Our coordinating square. Goes slightly above so it hits all 3 layers. And then the remaining 4 squares go here. And that is the basics of our layout. Now you are welcome to play around with pattern, flipping them up and down, seeing what works best for you. I think I'm fairly happy with how I have it. I may end up getting rid of this piece. That makes it feel a little less busy to me, but then we have this pattern kind of coming out of left field. So I'll play that by ear. And now it's just time to assemble. I'm going to switch to using repositionable for my mats so that I can come back and change the how they're distributed later on if I need to. All right, our layout is finished. You could easily put a title in this space here, choose one of these squares to journal in. You've got places for 4 by 6 photos and 2.5 by 2.5 inch photos. You can definitely put down some embellishment clusters. I'm going to experiment with adding some more borders down here. I think I'm going to try like these sketched stars, kind of bring in some of this sketching here. So I'm just adding these since I didn't put a border maker punch on this page. Get a little more interest at the bottom. I'm going to experiment with putting some stickers down. All right, that's all I'm going to put for now. So this is fairly close to the original recipe with the exception of not having punched that border maker. And also, I believe I reversed these two. I just kind of liked the idea of mirroring this color at the top and the bottom. So let's show you another example where I did a little bit extra. So this is the Sunrays for Days collection. So one of the first things I did is, well, I did not cut at 2.5 inches here. I just used a solid 6-inch piece all the way across. I didn't really like the reverse of the flip-flops next to it with all of the other patterns I had going on. So I went for a more simple pattern. I did cut the border maker as I said earlier, and you can see that pattern popping behind, and then there is a little strip to give it, to break up that giant border. The next thing I did is I moved the 4.5 by 6.5 mats from the outside to the inside. And then, because I was feeling even more extra, I added a 4x6 variety mat pack because I figured this could sort of serve as my title, and I wanted to balance out some of this white space at the top. So I took the 2 mats that should have been at the top, here. I moved them to one side, so I've got this block of yellow all the way across. And then I took the 2 mats, or the 4 mats that would have been here in the center, and I moved them to the top. So I love that project recipes are a good way to start, and then you can always adjust them, you can personalize them, and you can really make them suit your own needs. So now that you guys have seen the video, which one do you guys like best? Do you like the Sunrays for Days, which I made some modifications with? Or are you guys more on the patriotic page that I did closer to the recipe? I mean, I guess with both I made the modifications. I really like the patriotic page. I just love the red, white, and blue. I love the different mixes of patterns and how they all go together no matter what. But the Sunrays for Days is a close second, so we don't have any losers here. As I said, next week I will be doing a Use Your Scraps video, being able to feature some of the remnants from today and some other remnants that I've been collecting. If you guys are looking for more inspiration, please visit my Facebook and Instagram page. I post daily content there, and it's the best place to reach me one-on-one. And if you're looking for more ways to connect, why don't you come to one of my events? I host in-person and virtual events, so there's something out there for everybody. And lastly, if you see anything in this video that you like, please shop at my website at creativememories.com/cm/AshleyRush. And of course, if you love all things CM and you are so excited to share, let's talk about joining my team. I am really focusing on growth this year, and I would love to have you grow along with me. Speaking of joining my team, how many advisors out there are going to the Creative Minds Conference in Minneapolis next week? I will be there. I'd love to meet you guys. Let's start coming up with a time to meet up and say hello. All right, I will see you all next week. Some of you guys quite literally. I'll talk to you later. Bye.